Hello and welcome to the Skating Lesson. I'm Dave Lees.
And who cares who I am? Because
we're thrilled to welcome Vanessa, James, and Morgan Cipres, current world bronze medalists. Welcome to the show.
Hello.
Now, Morgan, do you say Cipres or do you say Cipres?
Cipres.
You do say the S a little bit.
Yeah.
Oh,
It's because it's like my family father. It's Spanish, so Cipres.
Yes, his grandfather is Spanish originally, so it's said with an S, Cipres.
So I should stop saying Cipres, trying to sound fancy, and just say Cipres. Okay.
I'm
Okay.
I'm okay.
My
Okay,
French is
all right.
about as good as Vanessa's, from what I've heard. So,
Ouch.
no, I don't know French at all. So,
Okay.
well, okay. Well, you're off to a fantastic start this season. So, where are you currently with your training? You guys had a bit of a good competition, you know.
Just a little bit.
Yeah.
It was a dream come true, actually. We were hoping to save that one for Worlds, but hopefully something better.
Yeah, exactly.
So currently, what is the plan? Are you on a year-by-year plan? Are you on a 4-year plan? What is kind of the status as you're going?
8 years.
No.
Like, oh my God.
We want to do more than Aliona.
No.
Aliona. Yeah.
Okay, good luck. So you need more than 8 then.
Yeah.
You need like 28. Okay.
No. We are going year by year. for
Okay.
now.
Still feeling motivated and fresh? Like, were you tired after the Olympics, or were you feeling energetic?
I guess everybody is tired after the Olympic season because it's a lot of pressure, a lot of energy in practice. So, yeah, we were tired, but we had like a few times to rest a little bit and reset our minds and be ready for the next season. So, I think we're good now.
Well, I was kind of excited after Olympics and Worlds. I was like, yeah, we can do this for another 4 years. It's at the end of the season, so everything's quite easy, right? And then after our 5 weeks off, I was like, why are we doing this again? It's so hard.
What have we done? Yeah.
No, I think that's the same for everyone. But definitely our mindset is there. Our bodies are, fit. And I think as long as we still have the envy, as long as we still have the mindset and all of that, and we're healthy, I think we're going to keep going. So.
Mm-hmm. Now, you said that you had 5 weeks off. So did you work out during those 5 weeks, or do you just, no? Okay.
I think I gained like 8 pounds.
I can do that in like a day. I don't need 8 weeks. Okay. Okay.
No, we just took a break because, as I said, we have to refresh our mind, but still we were thinking about, the next season a little bit and searching for music and for new elements a little bit, but just, you need a break after this point.
I would think so.
So people have loved your programs the last couple of seasons, and you chose to work with Charlie White and Guillaume Cizeron. So how did you kind of come to that decision?
Well, for Charlie White, Silvia and John had already planned that. They had already talked to us previously about it, and they had been coming in for all the other teams and little ones and Brandon and Haven that are training with us now. And when we were on tour, because the tour was just after Worlds, we were obviously with Guillaume every day, and he was trying to help us with some of our galas and transitions and things like that. And we were asking him what he thought about music choices. And eventually he was like, well, if ever you need help, just let me know if you want me to help you with your programs this year. And so when we went back to Tampa to start training with John and Sil, they asked us about Charlie again. I said, well, you know what? I think Charlie would be great for the long program, but I find like the music that we're going to be doing, that we'll be skating to for the short program would really work with Guillaume. So, and he had offered his service. So they were like, oh my gosh, it's such a great idea. And actually Guillaume was quite nervous because he wasn't sure how the federation would take it or how John and Sil would take it because he's never choreographed before. So he was a little bit nervous and stressed about what everyone would think. But both the federation and John and Sil were over, they were so happy about it, you know.
So everyone thinks he's kind of a good skater. So is it frustrating when he demonstrates, or what is that kind of like? Yeah.
You have to take on yourself. You know what I mean? Like, you have to admit that he's better than you. That's it.
That we don't do it as well, but he's like, yeah, that was great. That was great.
Okay, so he's positive. He's encouraging.
Nice, that's it.
Okay. So will you see him frequently, or will you see him and now you're done, or will he continue to revisit and work with you?
So he's watching all of our competitions, and we saw him in France when we did the Masters, you know, just after Autumn Classic. So we took ice on Sunday after the competition to work with him. He was like, "Oh, I want to change this, and I feel like we need to improve this," and you know, so like when he have time for us, he's making something.
No, he's great. He still messages us every day after, well, not every day, after each competition. He asks about the feedback. He tells us what he didn't like, what he liked. He wanted us to change the music after Autumn Classic, just the end, so it finishes a little sharper. We did that. He's very, very you know, professional and passionate about his work. So we're very happy to be working with him. We can't see him because he has obviously his own priorities for his season. But he is always asking, how is everything working? Can I have a video? Let me know if it doesn't work. Maybe you can do this. If not, so it's like his own skating. We're like his babies this year, so it's kind of cool.
So is it different to work with someone in this capacity that's kind of near your own age? Like both Charlie and Guillaume, like it's not like necessarily like a teacher or like a parental figure. It's kind of like a colleague. So was that weird, or it was just friendly, or
No,
also with Charlie? Okay.
They are really friendly with us, you know. We are at this point, you know, we don't take the coaches as a teacher, you know. They are working with us on our capacity or I don't know, our style, and they are trying to make us better. That's it. Not to teach us, you know.
Technique or something necessarily. Okay.
I actually thought it was quite nice because we're friends with Guillaume. He knows how to work with us because he's still training with Gabriella, and he's been training with her for the last 15 years. He knows how to speak to Morgan, how to speak to me, how to kind of work around our arguments or our frustrations.
Okay.
So it's different because like coming from coaches that have stopped skating such, you know, long ago, they kind of forget sometimes how it feels, you know. And I think working with both of them, they're young. Guillaume hasn't finished his career. Charlie is just finishing his career a few years ago. So he deals with us really well also, you know. It's different. And even though Guillaume is much younger than us, like I said, he's very professional. So we were listening to him and obeying everything that he says.
Amazing. Okay. Good student. Okay.
Yeah. So now you mentioned Guillaume's career. Obviously, the French Masters, they got it so that no one took even videos of their short dance. Did you see the program? Is it good? Is it, you know, how are they looking this year?
You're gonna see next week, I guess.
Yes. Okay.
So actually, it was kind of forbidden, you know, for the public to
take videos
because obviously it's like before the season for them, and they're at this point of that they need to be secret before the competition. But as always, it's gonna be amazing.
We only saw the short program. They never did the long program at Masters. So the short program looks great already, and I've heard it's even.
No, it's a rhythm dance. Thank you very much. It's a rhythm dance. No. RD.
Yes. It's very good, and I'm sure.
Okay.
Now, and the long, I don't even know. Okay, the free dance.
Yeah.
Look at you, professional.
I don't know what it looks like, but I've heard it's amazing. So.
Okay, I trust it. So now the two of you teamed up in 2010. Now you formerly did singles, Morgan, and you were coming off of like a 3-month partnership, according to your Wikipedia. So
3 months? No, that's not true. is with Yannick Bonner.
No, it said that you had like a partner in between him and Morgan. It said that you skated with some guy over the summer.
Maybe they met romantically.
I had a trial for maybe half an hour.
Oh.
But
Well, this is incorrect on your. I was like, wow, that's a Nicole Bobek situation. What's going on here?
yeah. No. I did a trial with Maxima Koya.
Okay.
Before Morgan, and that was it at Bercy for about an hour.
Oh, wow. Okay. So how did the two of you, I guess, come about? Yeah.
It's been for a long time now. It's like kind of far, but after. So I was in single, in the French team in junior. So I cross Vanessa sometimes in a French competition with Yannick, and I don't know. After her Olympics, I just sent her a message to take some news, and because I just hear that she finished with Yannick.
Okay.
And I don't know, we just start to talk and make some jokes about like maybe we can do triple side by side, triple lutz or triple whatever it is. And
it was triple toe.
It's triple. I don't remember all, but we just make fun like this, and he comes like, oh, maybe we should do like a real tryout to have fun and see what's going on. It was a kind of big deal for me because I never did a pair before, so I was like, okay, I have to be good if we do something, because she's amazing, and I remember her never missed a jump with Yannick, and so we just make the decision to have a test, have a trial, and the federation was not very happy about that because I was like this kind of bad boy, in figure skating in France, and she was like amazing, as I said. So they didn't want me to do that.
You were gonna ruin her, yeah. Okay, you were gonna taint her, yeah. Okay, okay.
It was kind of like this,
It was kind of like
okay.
that. It was kind of funny because when you stop skating with someone, anyways, I think in other countries, I don't know how it is, but I figured I could just message, or he can message me and we can talk about it and we have a tryout, normal stuff. And as soon as the federation found out, because I guess he didn't know that I was supposed to ask the federation if I could have a tryout. I don't know.
So like, I'm an adult. I know what I'm doing. Yeah,
Like,
okay.
what is this? You're the property of the French Federation. No. Like, they were a little bit upset that we didn't speak to them about it. And as I said, Morgan was a little bit of a bad boy in single skating. But I said, hey, I trust him, so I'm going to give him a shot. And for everyone else, we'll see.
So next time, Vanessa, now you know to ask. For next year when you switch. Okay. Okay.
Is it?
And when you say federation, do you mean DDA?
Yes.
Or like it's one person in
No,
particular, or
it
it's
was
your,
it was
like a panel?
It was actually
Okay.
John who was the main coach of pairs, because there were still a few pairs in Bercy when I was skating with Yannick and when Morgan was just in pairs. So Christopher Boyaji, who skates for England now, he was also part of the team. So he was the main head coach, and he was very upset that I didn't speak to him about it. But I didn't really know that there were certain rules or regulations to having tryouts.
Yeah, you weren't entering competitions. You were just exploring. Yeah, exactly. Okay.
That wasn't DDA.
So I feel like usually it's the man has more experience and they teach, the new girl pairs. So is it different when you're teaching the person who has to lift and throw you how to do all of these things? Or?
Yeah.
I cannot tell. I never changed partners.
How did you learn pairs?
I don't know.
It's true. I've only had partners with experience, but I thought it was actually quite nice. I thought, we would take a few years and it would be cool and easygoing, but not at all, because we had to get into competition right away. I think we only had just one season to form and working together before we started doing international competitions. But it was nice because Morgan was really funny. I think that's what made our pair so interesting and so nice and fun, because he was like a little baby and he would throw me up into a twist and he'd be like, oh my gosh. He'd be so scared and shocked that he just did it. And he had really good reflexes, which was, a priority for me, to find someone that had good reflexes to catch me, how to save me if a fall was going down or something like that. So he picked it up naturally. And so, yeah, it was interesting for me. And I trusted him right away, so it was very nice.
So now, how did you wind up in France? Because just reading your biography, you were born, and you can correct any of this that's wrong on there. You were born in Canada. You lived in Bermuda.
Yes.
Then you lived in Maryland.
Yes.
Then you were American. Then you competed for the UK, but you were still living in Maryland? Or did you move?
Yes.
Okay. Then you're French, and now you're French, but you live in Florida. Did I hit the bullets? Okay.
You did.
Walk us through this situation, Vanessa.
So, my dad is actually Bermudian, and that's why we live in Bermuda after we were born in Canada, because in Canada they went to university. My mom and my father met in university in Canada, in Toronto. So that's where they met. My grandparents were Canadian, living in Canada with my mom. And so my mom went back to Canada to see her parents, and my sister and I were twins. We were born a month early. So, we were Canadian, and then we went back to Bermuda because that's where we were living at the time, and my parents were living and had their work, their careers. So I stayed in Bermuda until we were about 9, and then my grandparents moved to the U.S., and my grandmother had Alzheimer's. So we moved as a family to Maryland to take care of my grandparents, my grandmother to help my grandfather. And we're actually British because Bermuda is a British territory. So basically, I had British citizenship and Canadian, and I had to decide whether I wanted to skate for Canada or Great Britain. And we just chose Great Britain. And after I decided that I didn't want to do singles anymore because I was a little disappointed with my results. It was very difficult for me. Hamish Gammon, who is a pair skater, great an English pair skater, asked me if I wanted to try pairs. So I had to try it with him for a few days in Duxcoit, I believe it was. And he's actually the one that started me in pairs. And my mom said, well, if you're gonna do pairs, you need to continue your singles because you can't really depend on yourself. You have to depend on someone else, and you never know what they're gonna do or how it's going to go. So you should keep up your singles. And I was actually very grateful that I did because pairs helped my singles and singles helped my pairs. And then I eventually stopped skating with Hamish, and I found Yannick Bonner on Ice Partner Church.
Okay.
And I had a tryout with him for 3 days, and I went to Paris to try out with him, and the federation was very happy. They had seen me in Kootenay 6 months before as a single skater, and so they were very pleased. And a week later, I moved to Paris, and I've been there ever since. And then I came back here 3 years ago in Tampa. We decided to work with John.
So if someone says to you, oh, I think you should try pairs, or, oh, Morgan, you want to come on over to the pairs side? Like, in the United States, we feel like that some skaters struggle with the idea that it's like we're giving up, so now we're doing pairs instead, right? Because we've often tried to contemplate it. American pairs is a little bit in flux. It's trying to find its way. And so many coaches cite that most parents especially aren't interested in their kids going that route. So what was your response when people kind of first brought up that idea to you?
Brian Joubert.
I'm familiar.
Yeah, I guess. He was thinking kind of the same as everybody, as I did, I think it's normal to think like this anyway. And after his career in singles, he decided to try to do pairs in Russia. And after maybe 1 week, he sent me a message. He said, I don't know how you did that. It's so hard.
Yeah.
I cannot do that. I cannot deal with a girl on the ice. I cannot do a spin. I cannot do a twist or whatever. It's so hard. So I was like, I'm glad you finally see what it is, because a lot of single skaters are thinking they just need to jump, and after that lift it's always good, and twist you put in the first element and that's it. It's not right, but I mean, we cannot stop people to think wrong, they just have to understand what it is. And I think our discipline is the most difficult discipline because we need to skate with someone else, like ice dance. We need to do elements very specific, like twist and throw. And we need to jump as single. Not as good, obviously, but it's really hard to put like everything in, two perfect.
Now, is it different competing? Some people say that they feel less nervous when they're competing with another person on the ice with them. Does it make a difference for you? Do you notice, or is it?
That's what I thought in the beginning, but at some point when that's true, I'm like, well, I'm not alone.
Keep it coming, yeah.
But at some point, you want to skate well for yourself, for your partner, for your federation. It's the same stress.
Okay.
You know, if you make a mistake, it's even more disappointing if it's you because you have someone next to you, you know? So in the beginning, that's what I thought, but it's a completely different story when you get to the level where you know you can medal or do well. And at some point, you just want to be your best all the time. So.
But the best part, I think, for this is that when you win something or when you win an event or when you have like a good performance, you can share this moment with someone who did exactly the same thing as you. You know what I mean? It's not like when you share that with your family who is really happy for you or your coaches who make like the help for you. It's something like you did together. So that's really amazing to share.
Now, I wanted to put in context, Vanessa, you said that you were in Maryland, and Liz Priscilla Hill is one of your coaches. So when did you work with Priscilla, I guess? Was it in the Johnny Weir era? Did you overlap with Johnny on the ice? Or
Yes,
was it...
I did actually. I did just skate with Johnny.
Okay, interesting.
For a few years, 2 or 3 years, at the pond. It was in Delaware, but we lived in Maryland, so it was just a short border. We were 5 minutes from the border into Delaware, but we lived in Maryland. And we skated at the pond with Johnny just before he left, I guess, because I don't remember if he moved to another Russian coach. But I was training with Priscilla Hill and Carl Kurtz in the pond, and then also in Wilmington. So.
Oh, nice. Okay. Yeah. Was Ashley Wagner in Wilmington? I'm trying to put you in, like, what era in the U.S. you were skating. Kimmy Meisner was there, and
Kimmy Meisner was there in Delaware at the University of Delaware.
Yeah.
So I did a few camps in the University of Delaware, but I never really skated with Kimmy Meisner. I knew, of course, who she was. I did skate more with Johnny Weir than Ashley Wagner. I don't think she was ever there. Yes, she was. She was. Ashley Wagner went to Wilmington after a while, and I was with her. I don't think we skated on the exact same ice, but she was training with Priscilla Hill for about a year, not very long, and we were at the same rink also. I forgot about that. But I remember when I was little, like, Ashley Wagner was so tiny. She was this little, like, tiny little thing, and she had a huge wrap, and then she jumps. And then a year later, she had all of her triples clean, beautiful skater. I was like, what the heck? Where did that come from?
Where'd she go? Yeah. Meldonium. Okay.
Oh. Now, Morgan, where did you grow up? And who's, you know, are you in Paris or where? You know?
I'm like 30 minutes away from Paris, around Paris. It's called Damary-les-Lys. I did my first step on the ice here, and I grew up with Claude Perry-Thévenard, our ex-coach actually, and my coach in single, and that's it. I didn't move a lot. I moved a little bit in Bercy, but that's it. I stay around Paris.
Okay. Now, how did you decide to work with John Zimmerman? You know, how did you decide to make that move? Because it looks like around the time that you moved to John, your career definitely, you know, moved forward very quickly. You know, so.
Well, that's what we were hoping for. After the last few years, we were, you know, at a stalemate, I guess you could say. We were 4th or 5th at Europeans, and then 8th or 10th at Worlds. And it's a lot of sacrifice. It's a lot of energy and time, and it wasn't easy, you know, having these disappointments. We'd have good programs and horrible programs. And so we just talked with our coach, Claude Tepnard, and she was basically telling us what we were going to do for the next season and planning. And it was the exact same thing as last year. And I said, this isn't going to work. We have to make a change. So during the tour, I was just researching and thinking, who could we work with? Because we worked with Richard Gauthier and Bruno Marcotte a few times in Canada when we first started. but they have many pairs. They have a full team. They had Megan and Eric at the time, and Kirsten and Mike. So basically, those are, very great competitors. They're some of our strongest competitors, and they're Canadian. So obviously, we didn't want to put ourselves in that situation, nor them. And then we had, what is her name? Delilah was a choice also, but she was with Alexa and Chris at the time, she was like, they were like her babies. We know that they have a very strong relationship, and they were our direct competition also. We didn't want to be in that situation or put them in that situation. We need to be a priority because we've always skated by ourselves. We've never really had to share with other high-level teams. And then so I was still looking for some coaches, and I remembered that the Italians, Nicole Della Monica and Matteo, had worked with John originally quite a few years ago. And so he popped up into my head, and I went to go look at a few videos of him, a little while ago on YouTube. And they were very similar to us. They weren't, the classical, balletic figure skaters, like Russians and Americans. So they were very athletic. He was very tall and strong like Morgan. Obviously, I'm a little bit taller than Kyoko, but they had some kind of style. And they had a lot of innovative moves. And I thought that he would be the best to bring out that in ourselves, in our team. So I called him and I was asking, actually I contacted Jeremy Barrett because I used to compete against Jeremy when he used to skate with Katie Denny, and I couldn't find John's information anywhere. So I asked Jeremy, do you work with John Zimmerman? He says, yes, here's his number. Contact him if you want to get a hold of him. And I called John and he was excited. He said, sure, let's have a talk with Morgan because I want to make sure that Morgan's in on this too. And so we had a three-way conversation, and it was he said that we'd be his priority. He only had a few junior teams or novice teams, and he watched our videos and he could tell what we needed to work on. And he had a whole team. He had John Kerr at the time, Jeremy, Sylvia, and John, and it was exactly what we were looking for. And we hit the jackpot.
Mm-hmm. So now, how did John and Sylvia kind of, I guess, divide things on the ice? And is Sylvia the leader secretly? Because it always seemed like Kyoko was
very much
the
a mystery. Yeah. It's a mystery.
Sylvia seems like she's in charge, Yeah.
I mean, John is amazing as a coach, and Sylvia helps him a lot to put everything, together, because he doesn't have us only on the ice. There is a lot of young skater and good skater, so she's amazing at this, and she help us a lot on the transition, the matching, Obviously, she doesn't know a lot in pairs, but she's trying a lot to understand and to help us to improve.
Yeah, she's the foundation. She knows when we go to competitions, when we should leave for competitions. She does the scheduling, which is crazy because she does it for every coach at the rink and all of the kids. So it's very demanding, but she's always there, and she works with us for an hour in the morning. She has us working with a Cuban dancer to help us with partnering and things like that. She schedules us to make sure that we have our biggest training and element-wise, our hardest training session with John, and then we have a shorter training session with Jeremy. So every day she makes sure that we have a routine, and then she mixes it with Brandon and Haven so that we're not fighting for the music all the time. And so they'll be able to do a full program without us interrupting, and us also will be able to do a full program without them interrupting. So she balances everything very well. So she is the foundation of this whole entire team. So don't tell John we said that.
Well, so was it like culture shock to then move and train in Florida of all places?
We thought so, because everyone was a little bit nervous that Morgan was going to be partying all the time in Miami because we were in. But quite honestly, they kill us during the week. So even when we were in Miami, we didn't move very much. We were so tired. We knew that they weren't going to give us a break the next day or on Monday. So it just became.
We decided to move in Miami or Florida, whatever, to do what we have to do on the ice, and
Right.
we wanted the result. So I think we focused a lot in practice and competition, and we didn't
Have time,
want to go
yeah.
out actually because we were like really focused.
So how much had you watched John, I guess, growing up? Because he and Kyoko were such a big deal in the U.S. And the commentators definitely made it seem like they hated each other when they were on the ice. They would kind of reference it in every program that their coach would make them like eat lunch together. But, they managed to really come together. So does he have a lot of good stories for you? Or, what is...
Every day he says a story about them.
Okay.
Every day. It's like, oh, remember Kyoko and I remember. So yeah, he's sharing a lot of his parkour, of his history with her, and I guess he can help us sometimes because we are like, oh, that's not only about us. So yeah, it's funny sometimes.
I mean, he talks about Kyoko, and you can tell that they didn't get along very well. But quite honestly, when he does talk about her, he says, "Dang, she was strong.
Yeah.
She never missed.
She never did.
Yeah, she never missed anything," he said. Yeah. And I was always the big one that messed up everything, the clumsy one and stuff like that. So, it's funny because he can still take it on himself to say something nice about her because you can tell that they didn't get along very well when they skated, but he appreciates her for who she was and where I'm losing my English.
You're doing great. You're doing great.
And their path, I guess, that they made together. So
he was also known for his style, and you mentioned how has he changed yours? Because when I first talked to John Kerr, he was just talking about your crossovers matching, and then like a couple months later, your program went viral on Facebook, and then last year your programs were a hit, and then people like your programs this year. So what kind of work have you actually been doing?
Everything, we came for a reason for him. So obviously we have to start like from zero on some basic stuff like crossover, like matching. We didn't know how to skate really together before this. I mean, we tried, but
yeah, of course, yeah.
And we worked a lot with John Kerr. And he's really good at this, so we had like hard time at the beginning because it was like really new for us to work like this, but I mean I think they did an amazing job with us.
Yeah, I mean John was very cool because he really knew how to teach partners, which is we don't really know, we never really learned that. Morgan and I didn't anyways, because I started pairs and I had to go straight to senior, and then Morgan started pairs and he had to go straight to senior, and then I had already not learned all of the basics to teach him. And so we were criticized on being two skaters skating separately, but I mean, two single skaters skating together. So it was very hard for us, to hear that all the time because we were trying so hard. But John really made a difference in our skating. So we did a lot of stroking lessons with him. And then we had our individual lessons with him also. He would watch the programs when we had lessons with John or Jeremy. And then he would work with us again and say, oh, well, I think you'd feel better if you took her like this, or the arm was over the head. And he's like, he was very good at teaching partnering. So I think that made a drastic difference in our skating. Mm-hmm.
So now you have a very unique aesthetic on the ice, like your own look, to your program. So who has kind of developed that? How has it come about?
To be honest, I think we are not trying to be like someone else. Mm-hmm. I think we are just trying to be ourselves, we are outside of the rink, how we feel good, and we don't want to be like the old version of figure skating. We want to make figure skating evolve, but not. We are not trying, to be so much different. We are trying to be ourselves. That's it.
Are you talking
but
about?
But that's why everybody loves you.
But
yeah,
the music, the costumes, everything. It's very it's very
and it's
unique.
Honest.
It just looks.
We see some pairs try to do something current or something fun or something outside of the box, and it makes me personally uncomfortable because it looks like they're faking something interesting. Yeah. They're not being something interesting. And so it's like you said, we weren't trying to do a thing. We were just trying to be us. Yeah. And then when it's so honest and authentic, everyone goes crazy for it because everything else can be very artificial or fake.
That's cool.
That's nice.
I think it came from ever since we started with Sound of Silence and 50 Shades of Grey, Earned It. Earned It, we just thought about it. We heard it and we're like, we should skate to this. Okay. We loved it. It's something that we both felt, you know? It was something that we liked listening to. So, and then we tried thinking, well, maybe the audience or the judges would like something a little more not so sexy or not so dramatic, you know? Because it was the weekend. It's very, you know, hip-hop kind of thing, you know? So, and then John was like, no, we're keeping Earned It.
Yeah.
So he just made it really sexy. It was really awesome. So I think ever since then we kind of found our style, and we're trying to stay true to that, you know, to our style. Because you see a lot of people that are good at something and they try to do something completely different, which doesn't really work, or they try to copy other people. We don't want to copy anyone, but we don't want to keep doing the same thing over and over again. But each time we find something a little different, but still suits us. And so Morgan chose the long program this year. And I think the short program, how did that come about? I think that came with John Kerr a few years ago. When we're like, the next short program we do is this one. And so it was
okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And do you
I think we had just had a good momentum because the rules change at this point for the music. Before we are like the lyrics were not allowed, you know. So it was kind of you are turning in
circles, yeah.
Oh yeah.
So everybody picked the same music, you know, and they just switch like this.
Yeah.
And when they allowed the lyrics on the song, I think it makes a lot of people makes mistakes, like choosing I don't know, Britney Spears or whatever it is.
Nobody chooses Britney Spears.
You know, but you know.
Well, some people have gotten close.
I like Britney Spears actually. No, but you know, I think it was hard at the beginning for everybody to pick a good music, you know, and I think for us it was just a good timing. I think that much.
So now, how did everything start to click for you, and when did you know in your career? Because I remember Megan, you know, at one point she was obviously world champion with Eric, and you guys were coming up, and then it felt like she went to work with you guys last year, and they were kind of struggling a little bit in the season and trying to get their momentum back, and she was like, man, Vanessa and Morgan, they're going to win, you know? And so I guess when
never told us that.
She talks a lot. You got to listen, you know? Like,
with a calculator, yeah.
What is it? The Energizer Bunny.
Yeah.
That's right, yeah.
When did we know? I think it was a big compliment when Bruno and so even for Megan and Eric, they wanted them to come to help them. But they also knew that it couldn't be for too long because it would, you know, take away from us. So it was nice having them also there. They have great energy. But I think that's when we figured that we were doing the right thing and we made the right choices when we had Olympic champions, world champions.
Coming to you, yeah.
To work with us. So it's pretty cool.
What's it like training with Aliona and Bruno? I mean, they're pretty intense, yeah.
Morgan would have more experience because he's trained with Bruno for quite a long time. He's French originally.
Yeah.
Can't forget.
Yeah, I know Bruno for a long time. We did competition in single together, so it was funny. But you know, Bruno is a really nice guy. He's not taking himself like as a world champion or whatever it is.
He's very down to
He's just like, I'm here, I'm doing my practice, I'm doing my best, and that's it, you know.
You know, I feel like Aliona has changed quite a bit since she's stopped working with Ingo and Robin. So she was very nice and also very nice.
I see what you did there.
I know honestly, she was before, but she didn't talk very much, that's for sure.
Okay.
Like, it's nice to have her on the ice. She's changed completely skating with Bruno. I feel like she's more herself and she's more open and she's more confident and she's just a better person, I feel, being with Bruno. I don't know what changed. I can't say what changed in the dynamic, but it was nice having her there. It was very cool.
Now, had you ever worked with Ingo? Or that was...
Where did you go?
Yeah.
This is is a very touchy story, actually.
Oh, I didn't know. Okay.
Ingo. Yeah, big thing for us, right?
Yeah, so just after we start to skate together, to decide to skate together, Federation was like, oh, maybe you should train with Ingo. And I was like, Vanessa knows Ingo for a while, a little bit, and I didn't know. I just knew that he was the coach of the world champion, Aliona and Robin. So we were like, that's a good thing. You know, it can be a big...
Hold on, let me stop you for a second.
Big thing.
Yeah, I knew Ingo just because after I broke up with Yannick, I don't remember if he sent me a message or I'm pretty sure he sent me a message, but to find me a new partner. And so I went to Chemnitz to train with him for a few days, like maybe a week, because he found a Russian partner for me. And then he said, oh, it's not going to work. It's not good. And thank goodness it wasn't very good. We didn't skate very well together. So we had a few days together. That's when I first met Ingo, and we did a tryout together. Then when Morgan and I started skating together, the federation said, well, Ingo liked working with you, Vanessa. Why don't you try to work with Ingo? He's a great pairs coach. He had, you know, Aliona and Robin. So they said, well, he's coming here for Trophy Bombard, the competition. He's going to come and watch you a little bit. And so he came and he said, oh, you guys have great lines, really good jumps. This is going to work. It's great. Okay. And so then he went back and he said, I'm going to come back for a few weeks and I'm going to train with you. And Bruno was skating with Daria Popova at the time. And so we had a few pair teams. We had a few pair teams at Bercy, and Ingo was going to come and train all of us for a month or so. And when Ingo came back, he said, your line is horrible. You guys don't skate at all the same way. Morgan, you should skate with this little girl who we don't even know who this little girl was. She couldn't skate at all. She said, Vanessa, you should skate with Bruno or Rudy. And I don't like this team at all. Vanessa, you're too big for Morgan. You need someone stronger. Morgan's too weak for you. Things like this. And so basically, he went and told the federation. Yeah, he went and told the federation this, and the federation was like, well, you know, he has champions, so maybe he knows what he's talking about. And he said, well, let's try having Morgan you skate with this little girl, and Vanessa you skate with Rudy or Bruno. We'll decide. And I asked Morgan, I said, Morgan, do you want to try skating with someone else? And Morgan says, no, I want to skate with you. I said, okay. So we don't. Ciao.
Right. Thank God. Yeah, exactly.
So he left, and he said, well, anyways, you'll never be a strong team. You won't go anywhere. I already told you you're too big for Morgan, and Morgan's not strong enough for you. And then we went to Bruno Marcotte and Richard Gauthier to help us with our elements, because we are still brand new. We never did a triple twist. We never did a throw triple flip. We were learning throw triple salchows, things like this. And they believed in us, honestly. They were amazing. And we have them to thank a lot, you know, for also getting us to where we are today, because they taught us the triple twist. They taught us the triple flip throw. And they certainly believed in us, and they told us that whatever Ingo said is, you know, trash. So we believed in ourselves.
Yeah.
And that year, we were 7th at Europeans with 2 very good programs, you know. And Ingo ended up coming to us and to the federation saying, I'm really sorry for what I said. You really proved me wrong. Yeah, it was nice of him. And he said, well, let me know if you ever need any help, because really, it's going to keep proving me wrong. And we're like, thank you, but no thank you.
Yeah, exactly.
It was a touchy story for us. You know, he really tried to break us up. And even during the whole season, when we told him to leave, when he was training Bruno and Daria, he was always sending me messages saying, you should stop skating with Morgan, you should skate with Bruno. And then I'd say, no, I already told you, like Morgan and I, and we had to do nationals in 2 weeks. Then he'd say, well, good luck. Bruno and Daria are going to beat you anyways. He was like, yes, he was not a very nice person.
Okay.
I don't think I should be saying all of this stuff.
So he wanted you basically for his own guy, is what's, yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
And he probably wanted 2 teams, you know.
We made it.
Yeah, he would have. You could have.
Yeah. So now you talked
Very,
about
very-
elements. Last year we saw you doing the quad. You know, they've changed the points around. What's kind of your strategy for this year? And how do you strategize when you don't know, are the quads worth
What
it?
the rules
Who are your
are.
competitors going to be? Is China even competing? Like, how do you... Yeah.
We took up the quad because it's not worth it anymore, you know. So like the risk is really big, and the points are not that, you know, it's not worth it anymore. So we just decided to focus more on new things, but not like quad or just a risky element. We try to find new lifts, new transition, new choreo step, and we try to work a lot on the comment tu dis, que ce soit beau et propre.
Like cleanliness.
Yeah. Et sur les lancers et tout.
The quality of the elements.
Okay.
Of the landings so that they're smoother and they're not crashing, not so up and down. Straighter back, better extensions, better skating. And then the lifts, like this year we have 2 level 4 lifts. And we could try and get a 3rd level 4 lift, but it's very difficult and it makes it scratchy. Now with the new judging system with the +5, it's almost better to get +5 and +4s on the level 3 element, level 4 with minuses or
Right.
So you have to be strategic, and I think that's what is working for us this year. We decided to just do triple sow-cow throw and triple flip throw and work on the length and having a little bit more flow on my landings because they were very crashy before with my back coming down. So we're still working on it because, you know, it's still the beginning of the season, and with a little bit of stress, you know, bad habits come back.
Right, of course, yeah.
But I think with the long program that we did, we can see that it's working, and so we're just going to keep working on the consistency. And even from Skate Canada, we've changed a few things, trying to make sure that we're not on 2 feet, making sure that we're really together with arms and legs, the legs being the same height. Turnout, I've been working with a rhythmic gymnast who is helping to work on my extensions and my flexibility, but not only flexibility, my strength, because, you know, you can lift your leg up that high, but can you hold it that high, things like that. So the rhythmic gymnasts are very strong girls also, so that's what I'm working on personally.
So you're going to start using ribbons on the ice or something? Or blow up a ball? Yeah. Okay. So I'm curious. So when you guys first, you know, paired up, and Morgan, you kind of like made that switch. Do you think that like that helped you guys, that it was when you were older? Like what do you think would be different if you guys had paired up like from the very get-go and had been like competing juniors together and all this sort of stuff? Do you think it's an advantage or a disadvantage, maybe, that you started on a bit of the later side together?
Hard question.
Yeah, it's kind of hard because I don't know, actually. I did World Junior in single. And I think for me, it's better to be a good single skater before you start doing pairs than starting like really young and your body is not like fully developed and everything, you know. You have to take care of another person on the ice, and your body needs to be at that point of is ready, you know, to do lifts or to lane throw. And if you start too early, I think you're gonna waste time because your jump's gonna be more weak. And for me, it's like jumps are really the basics, you know. If you have to think about your jumps and get stressed about the jumps, it's already a bad thing in pairs because you have to think a lot of different things in your program. So for me, I think like this. Maybe I'm wrong, maybe I'm right, but I think you don't have to start so young.
I guess it depends for me, because when you look at the Chinese that have been skating together forever, 15 years and things like that, they do have an advantage of knowing their partner very well and how they skate, and the elements are fluid and, you know, things like that, like Zhang and Tang Tong and Zhen and Zhao. They were together for over 15 years before they won the Olympics and things like that. So maybe it's good to start early just to learn basic elements, for girls to learn proper technique on the twist. But I do agree with Morgan. It's also hard on girls mentally being so little, starting pairs at a certain weight, and then becoming a woman and trying to balance, the weight change and the body change. It's not good for girls to know what their weight is at 15 years old. You shouldn't care. You know what I mean? It's hard. And to maintain that for your partner at 15 going on 20, I don't think it's very healthy for girls. And for boys, yes, of course, even for the girls' confidence, they should have a partner that they know can catch them or, is willing to risk their body to save them so they have confidence. And a boy that is not developed properly, and strong enough to save the girl and do what he needs to do and have the reflexes because he's old enough and mature enough, it might not be a safety. It might be a safety issue also. So, I started pairs quite late also. I have to say I'm pretty proud of what we've done in 9 years. I would wish the same on anyone else. I don't think that it's a necessity to start so early.
But you have such a unique perspective that is just your own. Like you have a voice, a point of view when you skate. And I didn't know if it's because you come at it almost now as kind of like fresh adults instead of when you were kids and like all of this style is dictated to you. Like you said, even in your former coaching thing, they were like, here's what we're doing next season. Yeah. And now you're talking about, we heard this and wanted to do this. We thought maybe we would ask so-and-so, and kind of taking that ownership of your own skating can probably only happen if you're able to come to it a little bit later, I would think. So I didn't know if you found that. Okay.
Yeah.
Now, do you keep up your jumps? Do you still work on harder? You said you wanted to do like triple when you start?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, he did triple toe the other day. We still like to play games. When we have time, I still do triple loop. He does triple flip and triple lutz. We still try to do triple toes together, things like that. It's nice to think about different things. And when you work on other harder elements, harder jumps, your normal jumps are easier, So we try to keep it up. It's always been a good strategy for us.
I'm gonna come back on my quad toe loop.
Quad toe loop.
Great.
So now
she's only doing the triple, so you only get credit for the triple, but we'll like to see it. It'll be nice. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, exactly.
So now the lift at the end of your program is really eye-catching. So with the interesting hold going on, we need clarification on how that works. And how did you come up with this lift, and whose idea was it? Did someone have to sell you?
Yeah, it was.
So we have this signature lift that we've always done, the last few years, where Morgan does the, what's it called? Lunge.
Lunge.
So I was doing it in a star, and then we did it from the star into a difficult exit last year. And we want to keep it. We know that the audience is looking forward to it, so we wanted to keep it going but evolve. So I thought this position would be really cool if we could do it and then roll out of it. And this original position was Jeremy's idea, Jeremy Barrett. We learned it for Sound of Silence. We did it in lasso position, and then did the swoop out of it in Sound of Silence, and then we just decided to do it last year because we needed to do a star in the short program. So I thought it would be really cool if we could do a star, and then him put me over the head and do this position. And then this year I said, well, it would be really awesome if we could do it in a lunge. So we just keep trying to, innovate and still stay the same, stay true to who we are, but we want to surprise the audience and the judges now and then, and keep improving. So, that was my idea.
So with your amazing Grand Prix win, congratulations. So was there a violation because the lunge was continuing? We were very confused from our
the time violation.
Yeah, and how you guys,
To be honest, we still don't know exactly.
What?
Yeah, we don't either.
I know it's the time violation.
Uh-oh.
No.
Sorry.
Say it again?
Yeah, say it again. Yeah. I'll edit it out.
we know it's a time violation deduction, but we don't know if it's because I was moving my hands everywhere or if it's because we were sliding still. So we don't know that.
Yeah, so basically the rule is the timer starts when we start moving, like any body part, and when we come to a complete stop. So basically we're still gliding, and we're having an issue with that because we don't know how to stop. Like we tried it at Autumn Classic, and we were like jumping around. I don't know what we were doing.
Yeah, it would lose its effect if you had to stop. It's a beautiful thing to see it keep going. Yeah.
He has pretty good speed at the end of the lift, so he has a hard time stopping. And this time he was celebrating, so we were...
Of course. So to me, that signified the end.
Yeah.
It's over. Yeah.
But we do have to stop before the timer stops. You know, like the timer won't stop if Morgan's still moving and if we're still gliding. So it could be either or. I think they were quite nice because Morgan was still moving at the end. So I think we could have gotten 2 time deductions if they were really nasty. But
okay. Well, it's too bad because it's something interesting and it doesn't seem like it should be breaking a rule. That seems a little bit silly. But okay.
Stab that toe pick.
So you don't get any clarification either.
No.
Like you can't just like call him and be like, "What was that?" Okay.
We just have to work on stopping, and you know, if Morgan's happy, I'll take the time deduction. It was natural for him to act like that. It's fine.
Yeah.
So now you mentioned goals for this season. You wanted your Skate Canada performance at Worlds. So what are your goals kind of for Grand Prix Worlds this season?
Make it to Grand Prix final this year would be great because last year was a little bit of a disappointment.
So close. That was so tough. Yeah.
That's for like the closer objective, and then European champion, that's for sure, and world champion maybe. Okay.
And are you leaning towards competing next year? I mean, have you even thought about it?
No, not like this. You know.
We were really focused on this season.
And
like I said, we're working on personal goals this year, making ourselves better, not by any standard of the judges or what people think if we've reached our peak or not. I'm really working on my flexibility because I think that that's what is going to make the difference, and I want to be personally the best skater that I can be this year. And Morgan's working a lot on his posture and extensions and fluidity, on his fluidity. Is that a word?
Yeah.
Yes.
You're good. You're good.
So I think this year is really for us. And if we feel that we've reached our peak this year, then maybe we'll stop next year. And if we haven't, personally, I think we'll continue. But so far we're focusing on this year.
Okay.
Well, we're very excited to see what happens over the next couple of years. So we'll be watching and rooting for you. Thanks so much for coming on the show.
Thank you.
You're welcome.